In the coastal town of Port Haven, nestled between the rugged cliffs and the expansive sea, a legend lingered like the salty mist that clung to the docks. The locals whispered tales of the Strolling Man, an enigmatic figure seen only during the darkest nights of the new moon. They spoke of his smooth, featureless face and his silent, eerie strolls along the waterfront. The old-timers would lower their voices and say his true name was Giove, a name that carried a chill even in the heat of summer. Ethan O'Connor had recently moved to Port Haven, seeking solace from the chaos of city life. The town's tranquil charm and the rhythmic lull of the ocean waves were a balm to his weary soul. He had heard the tales of the Strolling Man but dismissed them as mere folklore, stories spun to entertain tourists and frighten children. One new moon night, unable to sleep, Ethan found himself drawn to the waterfront. The sea was a vast, black expanse, its surface barely visible under the starlit sky. As he walked along the wooden planks of the pier, he felt a strange, electric tension in the air. The town was unusually quiet, the typical sounds of nightlife conspicuously absent. Then, he saw him. A lone figure, silhouetted against the dark horizon, walking with a deliberate, unhurried pace. Ethan's breath caught in his throat as he noticed the figure's face, or rather, the lack of one. It was smooth and featureless, like a mannequin's. Despite the distance, Ethan felt an unnatural chill wash over him. Curiosity overcame fear, and Ethan followed the figure from a distance. The Strolling Man, or Giove, seemed to glide along the pier, his movements fluid and almost otherworldly. He made no sound, not even the creak of the wooden boards beneath his feet. Ethan's mind raced with the possibilities, a ghost, an illusion, or something far more sinister. He remembered the stories he had overheard in the local pub. The fishermen spoke of Giove as a restless spirit, a man who had once lived in Port Haven centuries ago. According to legend, Giove was a sailor who had made a pact with the sea, trading his humanity for immortality. The price of this dark bargain was his face, stripped away as a mark of his otherworldly nature. Determined to uncover the truth, Ethan visited the town's library the next day. He pored over old records, maritime logs, and local lore. Amid the yellowed pages and dusty tomes, he found references to a sailor named Giove Blackwood, who had vanished under mysterious circumstances in the 18th century. The accounts were vague, but they hinted at a man obsessed with eternal life and forbidden rituals. Ethan's research led him to an old lighthouse on the outskirts of town, long abandoned and rumored to be haunted. As the next new moon approached, he decided to explore the lighthouse, hoping to find clues to Giove's fate. The townspeople warned him against it, their faces pale with fear, but Ethan was undeterred. On the night of the new moon, Ethan made his way to the lighthouse, its silhouette stark against the night sky. The air was thick with anticipation as he climbed the crumbling steps and entered the musty interior. Cobwebs hung like drapes, and the scent of decay was overpowering. He moved cautiously, the beam of his flashlight cutting through the darkness. In a small, hidden chamber, Ethan discovered an ancient journal, its pages brittle with age. The handwriting was barely legible, but he could make out fragments of Giove's story. It spoke of a ritual, an invocation of the sea's primordial powers, and a promise of eternal life. The final entry was a desperate plea, as if Giove had realized too late the true cost of his bargain. As Ethan read, a chill ran down his spine. He felt a presence, a cold, malevolent force that seemed to emanate from the very walls. He turned, and there, in the doorway, stood the Strolling Man. Giove's faceless visage was even more terrifying up close, an abyss of nothingness that seemed to draw on all light and hope. Ethan backed away, his heart pounding. "What do you want?" he demanded, his voice trembling. Giove did not speak, but his presence conveyed a sense of profound sorrow and endless torment. Ethan realized that Giove was not merely a ghost, but a being trapped between worlds, cursed to walk the earth for eternity. His pact with the sea had condemned him to a fate worse than death. Desperation gave Ethan courage. He opened the journal to the final page and read aloud the incantation, hoping it might release Giove from his eternal torment. The air crackled with energy as he spoke the ancient words, and the lighthouse seemed to groan and shudder. Giovea's form flickered, and for a moment, Ethan thought he saw a glimpse of the man he once was, a sailor with a rugged face and eyes full of longing. But then, with a final, anguished cry, Giove vanished, leaving only a faint whisper in the air. The sun rose over Port Haven, casting a golden glow on the tranquil waters. Ethan stood by the lighthouse, feeling a strange sense of peace. He knew that the legend of the Strolling Man would live on, but he hoped that Giove had finally found rest. As he walked back to town, he felt a renewed appreciation for the simple beauty of life. The people of Port Haven went about their day, blissfully unaware of the dark secrets their town held. Ethan decided to stay, to become part of the community and share his newfound knowledge with those who would listen. Years passed, and the story of the Strolling Man became just another tale told around campfires and in the cozy warmth of the local pub. But Ethan never forgot the night he had faced Giove and the lesson he had learned. He dedicated his life to studying the mysteries of the sea and the supernatural, always seeking to understand the thin veil between worlds. And on nights when the moon was new and the sky was pitch black, Ethan would walk along the waterfront, feeling a connection to the past and a hope for the future. He knew that the sea held many secrets, and while some were dark and terrifying, others were filled with wonder and possibility. Port Haven thrived, its people living their lives with a sense of peace and security. The legend of the Strolling Man faded into memory, a ghost story for the ages. But Ethan never forgot the man named Giove, a sailor who had paid the ultimate price for his desire for immortality. And so, the waterfront remained a place of mystery and magic, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit and the eternal dance between life and death. Ethan's story became part of the fabric of Port Haven, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, there is always a glimmer of hope.